Morning, everyone. Welcome to episode number 64 of Merritt in the Morning. 63.
63.
I got ahead of myself. 63. Scratch that. That's coming. We'll have to come up. That'll be a very special episode. So this week, we are going to be doing our 2025 year in review, including information that could save your life. So be sure to watch till the end. We're also going to be talking to Abdul-Hakim Shabazz from indiepolitics.org. So hang on. We got your hosts, Jim Merritt.
Right.
You're
Right.
a 30-year state senator.
And you're president of the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, Brad Kloffenstein.
Yes, I am. We're coming to you today from Cafe Audrey's, beautiful Fort Harrison. Thank you, Cafe Audrey's, for being our continual host now, home for almost 3 full years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Can't
amazing.
believe it.
I cannot believe it. We also want to thank Stockyards Bank and Trust, locations at 71st and Binford, downtown Indianapolis, Carmel, Plainfield, County Line and Emerson down in Greenwood. They've got a branch in Center Grove. Coming soon to Zionsville up on Michigan Road at 116th Street. I think they got Whitestown in the works. Am I missing any?
No, I think you got him.
Okay, we got them. Cool. Also want to thank the Honey Baked Ham Company, locations at 96th in Michigan and 146th the Greyhound Pass in Carmel, right in front of the Menards.
Yep.
They're great people. Jim loves the honey mustard. We all
Wonderful.
love their ham and sandwiches. And keep in mind, the Honey Baked Ham Company, they're not just carry out. You can order in. They've got all of the sides. They've got drinks there. So stop in, have lunch, have an early dinner, take home dinner.
Hey, go see Russell at 96th and 421. He makes all the soups.
Really?
Yeah.
So you want the Russell special?
Yes.
And that's some of the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So
Desserts are great. I mean, it's a really fine restaurant.
yes, so thank you very much, Honey Baked Ham and Stockyards Bank and Trust, for being long-term supporters of ours. So, Jim, before we get to our guest, Abdul, we've had a big year.
Yeah, we have had.
You know, this is our 18th episode.
That is
this year.
fabulous.
It is.
We've had lots of different types of folks and a wide range of guests.
We have. So I'm going to go through some of these. We started off the year. Blair Beck from Beck Communications Group was our very first guest of the year. Then we had Mark James, voice of IndyCar Radio.
Yeah.
Which that was a great one.
Yeah.
Which I could talk racing all day long.
Yeah.
We had Scott Pollard, former Pacer Center, talking about Pearls of Life foundation that he helps run. We had Nate Spangle from the Get IN podcast, which Nate Spangle has blown up after his appearance on our show.
All because of us.
All because of us. I mean, we are the kingmakers, Jim. Central Indiana podcasts, apparently. We had Terry Stacy, Sunshine
Yes.
WIBC.
Big smile.
Which I got to sit in with her. We did a radiothon benefiting the Salvation Army here a couple of weeks ago over at Sullivan's Hardware. Terry and I got to host an afternoon segment from noon to 3. I need to look and see which segments raised the most money. I know we raised $50,000 during ours, which I think puts us towards the top. So you and Nigel like to brag, but I'd like to see the numbers.
Yeah.
We had Emily Williams, CEO of GeneX,
Right.
Green energy company.
Yes. Power.
Lots of power, which, given where we are with the energy needs right now, that was a great topic. We had Jimmy Kite, former IndyCar great.
Yeah, he's funny.
It was a blast. I want to have him back again next year. 5-time Indy 500 starter. Then we talked to Ed McClure of McClure Oil, and we just happened to find out after that episode was over, oh yeah, he also owns Farmer State Bank.
Yeah.
Okay, might want to drop that in the comments, Ed, before we're done.
We didn't do our homework, nor did he.
No, we did not. That was fun, though. And we did it from Sweet at the 500, which is probably one of the better parts of that one. We had Vanessa Green Cinders. She's the CEO and president of the Indiana Chamber of Commerce, which she is wonderful.
Yes.
So
great episode.
Yeah, the more I get to know her, the more I just think that she is the right hire for that job. Then we had Rob Denlow and Scott Carr from Brotherhood Designs. They're the firefighters that make flags out of
hoses.
Oh yeah, fire hoses. The retired fire hoses. They could throw them away, or they could cut them up and turn them into flags. They cut them up and turn them into flags. Pretty cool. We We had Mike David. He's the executive director of Indiana Golf.
Mhm.
They've got a new facility here in Lawrence, Jim.
Right across-
Yeah, exactly. About a mile from here over at the Fort Golf Course.
Mhm.
Golf Course and Resort, I believe is the
Mhm.
name of that. Then we had Greg Goodnight, Chief of Staff for Mayor Whitfield in the city of Lawrence. And he talked about some of the great things going on in Lawrence. And we had a sub-guest that day. Because Mike Kalb was part of our live studio audience.
Yeah.
So we talked
Mr.
ham.
Ham, Mr. Bakeham.
I love
Honey
talking
baked ham.
I love talking to him. We talked to Lexi Hudson, author of The Soul of Civility. We talked about how to be nice to each other. I think on this show, we don't have much of a problem with that. Work hard and be nice. Jim, the best coincidental slogan we've ever come up with.
I was just hanging here.
Yeah. People have asked us a lot, oh, did you guys hang that sign there? Like, no, it was already here, but we adopted it. We had Catherine Michael. Actually, you had Catherine Michael. That was the one episode I've missed of Merritt in the Morning. You ran solo. You did a very good job.
Thank you. She was an interesting lawyer, and she represents kids and in situations in schools, and she's a very good lawyer.
Yeah.
Interesting interview.
Yes, very interesting. Then in October, we had Damian Mason, agricultural economist. He's with extremeag.org. He's a professional speaker, and he knows a whole lot about agriculture.
Yeah, and the reels that you did were off the charts with numbers.
Yeah. But Damian's just a nice guy. Abdul's known Damian for 20 years, probably. So, good guy. Then we had my wife. She came in and talked about the company VIPS she works for. They do provide services for visually impaired children, ages 0 to 3.
And she's a very happy person.
She's an extraordinarily happy person.
And very patient.
Very, very patient.
I think she's as patient as my wife is.
Yes, she is.
We all three have patient wives.
Yes. Then we had our last episode. We had Elise Nishala, state comptroller,
Right.
and also another incredibly nice person.
Yeah, that and she's very worried about the debt of the federal government. I thought that was really interesting itself.
Yes, exactly. Which
She doesn't make it boring.
no, she does not.
It makes it interesting.
Yeah, and go back and watch that episode because she was able to tie Indiana finances and what we're doing here in Indiana into what they're doing at the federal level and why the feds are potentially dooming us all.
I also got to say the name Mary Martin, who is a big Republican up in the Fort Wayne area that works for Governor Braun, and she's a sweet woman, and she's a mutual friend of Elise and mine. So I got to say hi to Mary Martin.
One name I forgot
Oh.
on the list. So we've had 18 shows this year.
Okay, so this is episode number 19 for the year.
Dan Dockage.
Oh, heck, we did have Dan. Was that in
That was in January.
January 2025? We did that one over at Ale Emporium. We
How
did have
could we
Dan.
forget Dan Dockage?
I thought that was last year.
we kept pounding the table.
We did.
In the
Josh
laptop.
forgot it because Josh wasn't there.
Yeah, the laptop kept moving.
Yeah, that
as
was
we kept
there was a bad producer that day, and his name was Brad. But it was an entertaining show.
It was fun,
nonetheless.
So let me see. So your guests basically for this year have been basically sports people and racing.
Sort of in a state comptroller.
Little government.
Yeah.
A little local government, but a lot of sports racing stuff.
Yeah, the show is morphing and evolving.
Yeah.
So
we had a gas guy.
we talked gas from the 500.
Yeah.
And,
So this is Brad Kloppen saying if ever said knew Brad Kloppen.
yeah, sort of. I mean, yeah. So now
Change the name of the show.
we could actually, this could morph into a sports show because Jim is leaving in the next 24 hours. He's jumping on a plane to head to Southern California to watch the Rose Bowl.
I am.
So,
And taking rain gear.
did you ever think that you were going to have to pack a lot of rain gear to go sit in sunny Southern
because
California?
I don't remember the last Rose Bowl had rain, but it sounds like it's predicted.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for Hoosiers. I know I'm representing Purdue today. They've got a game.
The last one I went to was the Purdue Rose Bowl.
You went to that one?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that you were there with me.
Yes, I was.
Albie, thanks for helping support. I hope you were supporting the Boilers.
Of course.
Not the Huskies.
Of course.
But,
It was tough. When Drew Brees slipped on the field, I knew Purdue was in trouble.
we were. Now, I did a Lee Corso, and I've got a framed photo of Purdue leading in the Rose Bowl because I knew it was not going to last.
Take a picture will last longer.
Yeah.
I went to Illinois, so this all means nothing.
Yeah.
All right. So, Abdul, we are on now episode number 63 of Merritt in the Morning. For our guests, who the heck are you?
I asked myself that question this morning.
Who am I? What am I doing here?
From a philosophical perspective,
Well, you wear so many hats.
I have a big head.
Yeah.
No, always good to be here. Watch you guys all the time. We do all sorts of stuff together for years and years. I remember when you were a state senator, when you were at the Licensed Beverage Association while it still existed.
Yep.
Tobacco, the sin stuff.
Daylight saving time.
Yeah.
Staying open an hour.
Yes.
Actually, for our viewers, just so you know, the whole reason that bars get to stay open an extra hour in the spring when the clocks fall back is basically a joke between me and Abdul that ended up going viral in the media. And next thing you know, Governor Daniels signed a decree.
That's how you show you got influence.
Yeah.
When your jokes become public policy.
Yeah.
Well, our audience needs to know that you grew up in Chicago.
Yeah, grew up in Chicago, went to high school there. I lived in Europe for 4 years, 86 to 90, and when there were two Germanys. Lived in West Germany, went to college in Munich for a couple of years, came back to Northern Illinois University, the other Huskies. Not the Washington Huskies, but the NIU Huskies.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-conference, whatever that.
Well, they beat Notre Dame last year.
Yeah.
I'm sure that means something.
It meant a lot.
I've never been a big sports person, so. Then went to work for WJBC Radio in Bloomington, Illinois, literally 141 miles right up the road on I-74. Went to college in Springfield for graduate school, got my master's in government. Went to work for the Illinois Attorney General for a while, then went to law school in St. Louis. Then went back to work for the Attorney General, got fired when my boss lost. We ran for governor in 2002. Did talk radio in Springfield, then got a job to come here in Indianapolis. It was supposed to be a 2-year stint. At the time, the girl I was dating, we broke up. So I was like, well, nothing to do for a while. Next thing I meet my wife, and 21 years later, we're still here. So I don't remember who broke 3 mirrors, but congratulations, folks.
21 years.
21 years.
So I've known you 21 years.
Yep.
You've known Jim probably 21 years.
Jeff came here in 2004.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
I met him like his third day on the air, I think.
Yeah, because something had happened. Yeah, it was a Ken Given
Yes.
debate, and he got kicked out of the debate. And I remember talking to Bill Ostley from the Daniels campaign, and I want to say Mike Edmondson, Kip too, from the Joe Kernan campaign. And like, well, it wasn't me. Like, whatever problem it wasn't. Like, well, I guess we don't have a problem with Ken Given in the debate.
Funny when you catch people who may or may not know they're on a hot mic with an audience.
Yeah. Like, oh, I guess he's in. Congratulations. Like, look, there's Johnny Cash. He was all dressed in black.
I love it. So what are all the pies that you have your fingers in right now?
Well, the editor and publisher of VanityPolitics.org, a website that talks about local politics. Talk show host at WIBC Radio. I teach college at the University of Annapolis and Ivy Tech Community College. I do commentary for any Fox 59 these days. Used to do commentary for Channel 6 when Channel 6 had their show up on All Indiana Politics on occasion. So if there's a media and there's politics involved, I'm usually in the middle of it.
And this morning
I did talk radio for WVON Radio out of Chicago from my spare office, my messy bedroom.
and you have your own TV show.
Yes.
Yes.
Indiana Issues,
Mhm.
the television program. Been on hiatus for a little while, but we'll be back in January.
Mhm.
So once all the politics get started all over again.
And you also participate with me with State House Happenings with Rob Kendall.
And I write a little gossip column called The Cheat Sheet,
Mm-hmm.
which for some strange reason is one of my best-selling items in the entire universe.
Yeah. And how much is a subscription to the cheat sheet?
$50 every 6 months.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
So how many subscribers do you have to that? If you want to disclose, if you don't want to, you don't have to.
About 600 normal subscribers, and you also got the elected officials and the corporations.
Gets
and,
passed around a little
and
bit.
it gets passed around quite a bit. Matter of fact, I remember the first time I decided to sell advertising was I had a call from a state senator. It was like, hey, Abdul, I read your cheat sheet, and what you wrote was, yes, well, he was cursing me. I'm like, whoa, Senator, no offense, but I don't know who all my subscribers are, but I know who is a subscriber, and you're not a subscriber. Like, no, somebody sent that to me. Like, hey, wait a second, I didn't think it was getting passed around. I'm going to sell advertisement.
So you got some eyeballs on it.
And lo and behold, 12, 13 years later, it just paid for my vacation to Bahamas.
Tell us a story. What's a big situation that came to the fore for you with your newsletter that you'll never forget?
It's been so many of them because it's like watching a Marvel film. It always ties into the next Marvel film. Like, oh, look, there's Robert Downey Jr., there's Doctor Doom. Okay, this is great.
Well, have you gotten a call from somebody really, really mad at you?
Not some. Usually, yes, I did. I got a call from Chris Gardner, the
State senator from Southern Indiana.
Yeah. So I wrote something about Chris Gardner, and Chris Gardner told me, Abdul, you're wrong, you're blah, blah, blah. Like, well, I'm not wrong. You may not agree with the interpretation of what I wrote, but I wasn't wrong. And it was doing all the sexual harassment scandal stuff, the things was getting really out of control. Like, his name came up, other folks' name came up. So I just basically said, hey, here's what's out there. And he got mad, and like, you'll get over yourself, because eventually you will. Just go, why don't you just go clothesline Santa Claus?
So I got to ask, there's been a couple statewide elected officials who have accused you of being fake news. Actually, liberal fake news.
Yes.
So when did you become liberal fake news?
I have no idea. Diego Morales, Todd Rokita, Micah Beckwith. So
now tell our audience, Attorney General Rokita would not allow you to come into a press conference.
yes, I actually had to sue Todd Rokita. So that was the first time. And then something else just happened recently that I'll break on here today. Rokita was having a news conference on something like
Really?
no call,
Vanilla.
something minor, no call list,
Not a big deal.
something very matter of factish. And so I went to his news conference, and he was like, "Sorry, Abdul, you're not allowed in." I'm like, I'm not allowed in.
He told you this.
It was his spokesperson.
Oh, his spokesperson.
I'd be like, you can't. What do you mean I can't come in because you're not the media? Like, yes, I am. I got my press badge right here. Like, we're not the media. Like, oh, yes, I am. I was having a bad day that day, and so I called my friends at the Indiana Civil Liberties Union because they just got the clock on some abortion issues. They were having a really bad day. I was like, hey, candidates Abdul, like, what's up? Want to sue Todd Rokita? You banned me off the news conference. Like, you're kidding me. Like, nope. We'll get that done right here, right now. And so we end up filing a lawsuit, end up getting dismissed, and we reached a settlement agreement. I'll be treated just like the other media. And so now, for some reason, they forget to send me the media invitation. So that's
I'm sure it's just purely an oversight.
yes. And then,
But I wonder if they go to John Schmitz.
well, I'll talk about John Schmitz in just a second. Something that just happened to John Schmitz today.
So what's your breaking news about?
My breaking news was in my Indiana Issues radio program. I wrote for a while. This was years ago. That Indiana Issues, it's underwritten just like everything else, and it's underwritten in part by the Indian Civil Rights Commission. And that was like years ago, and they just basically kept going on. And so Rokita sent me a cease and desist letter saying that the Civil Rights Commission isn't a sponsor of your program, and you're violating the State's Consumer Protection Act by saying that they are. I was like, what? Huh?
When did this happen?
In the past couple of weeks.
Oh, and you went on vacation.
Yeah. And so I put on my lawyer hat, like, this is total BS. And so I wrote, like, no, it's not. First of all, the Consumer Protection Act only applies to, like, sales of, like, cups and, it doesn't apply to, like, broadcasts, number one. And number two, you realize you're cramping on First Amendment related issues because they said they want to request, like, all my shows, all my sponsors, all my content. But like, no. You can't have this. And so I wrote them a nice little stern letter saying, go pound sand. And I haven't heard from them since. Like, do you really want to bring this up?
Yeah.
And by the way, this could be considered retaliation because remember that whole thing about being out in the news conference a while back? I got a good memory for this type of thing.
You would think the Attorney General would want to not go in front of the Supreme Court defending themselves.
Again?
Yes, again.
Yeah. You again?
Yeah, because technically I could argue that this is a rule of professional conduct violation to go after the media. And so they just politely let all that. I wrote my letter back to them about 2-3 weeks ago and haven't heard a thing. So I guess it's all...
It'll go away.
Yeah. Now with John Schmitz, on the other hand, and John Schmitz is a perennial candidate, run for county chair, ran for Congress, lost to a dead woman, all that other... No, this Gabe Whitley. He lost to the dead woman, my bad. They all start to run together after a while. Is Schmitz, he does a mouthwash podcast, which I watch just like I monitor everything, just like the CIA monitors terrorist chatter, because you don't know whether having coffee at Fifth and Dromedary.
Yeah.
And he got a press badge. And there was a big stir in the State House, like, okay, what's John Schmidt doing with press credentials? Like, well, he is the media in the new age, so you can't deny him press credentials. However, he's going to find out the hard way that having access doesn't mean having access, because these lawmakers do not have to talk to you. They can just, no, I'm sorry, I'm on my way, I'm leaving, blah, blah, blah.
No comment.
No comment, or just ignore you, just keep walking. And so Smith's got his press credentials, but then he said the other day on his mouthwash program he's going to Florida for 2 months. Like, but if you're going to Florida for 2 months, that's when session's going on, so you're not going to be here for session. So that's why I said, don't worry about it. This will take care of itself, and guess what? It took care of itself.
That's funny. You were watching Merritt in the Morning with your host, Jim Merritt.
Brad Kloffenstein.
Our guest today, Abdul-Hakim Shabazz, publisher of IndiePolitics.org. We want to thank, once again, our sponsors, the Honey Baked Ham Company, locations at 96 in Michigan, Greyhound Pass in Carmel, right in front of Menards. So, Jim, when you're returning all the power tools you don't need for Christmas, stop by and have lunch with all your newfound gains.
Well, you know how much I like their ham. I
You
can't wait
love-
to try their chocolate cake.
Yes. So, what did I get? It's got like a Cuban sandwich.
Yes.
that I get when I go there. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So I love it.
Mm-hmm. I had 2 hams for Thanksgiving.
You got 2 hams, sure. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's the only pork I will actually eat.
Wow, that's quite an endorsement.
Bacon?
Apart from bacon. Bacon isn't pork. Bacon is delicious.
It's its own separate food group. Also want to thank Stockyards Bacon Trust, locations all over central Indiana, including
Thank you,
Carmel
Paul.
and Greenwood and Center Grove and Manifest Destiny. They're coming everywhere.
Paul Amone is the market president for Indiana for Stockyards Bank, and she was awarded an IBJ.
That's right,
She's
she
a recipient
was.
of award IBJ. It's terrific.
Congratulations, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you to our sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
So Abdul, back to you. So let's recap 2025 a little bit, the year in politics, and then we will look towards the future
Mm-hmm.
and our crystal ball, our little crystal sign here. So first, obviously, Mike Braun and his lieutenant governor, Micah Beckwith, have been in office now for exactly 1 year. How do you think this year's gone?
Either as expected or not as expected. Depends on your perspective. Perspective. When Mike became governor, like any new governor, there's a lot of hope, a lot of optimism. Hey, they're going to set their own footprint on things and do things a little bit differently. I was a big Eric Holcomb, Mitch Daniels fan. I don't apologize for that. When people called Eric Rhino, like, so what? And because Eric got stuff done. Mitch Daniels got stuff done. And even Mike Pence, even though Mike Pence had some issues, Mike Pence got stuff done too.
Exactly.
With that said, I think when Braun came in, Braun was not used to people sort of pushing back, because Braun was a chief executive, his company down in Jasper, and
He was senator.
well, even but see, but Braun's never really been a big fan. Braun's never been a big legislative type guy.
No.
Because that's just not in his wiring.
But when you're a U.S. senator, you're a U.S. senator.
Yeah, you're an exclusive club of 100 people, which is great and fine. However, I think with Braun's issue was he come back to the legislature. I'm the governor. I won. I got this mandate. You will do what I tell you to do. And legislature will say, no, governor, you go pound sand. We will help you do what we can, but we're a co-equal branch of government. And your lieutenant governor isn't helping people. You talk about doing primary challenges over redistricting and the whole property tax debate, which went south. It's Mike Murphy calling. Called Mike Murphy back. I give a B-, only because the wheels of the bus haven't fallen off, but it's year one. Hopefully governors will learn from year one. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. And hopefully they'll learn by year two. Otherwise, we get the Mitch Daniels effect in 2006, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Mitch came with a mandate in 04. Lawmakers pushed back in 06.
Yeah.
He won in 08. And then they got everything back in 2010.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And with Governor Braun not having a budget session, and you've heard me say this too many times, that governors really make their hay with budget sessions, the first budget session and the second in their term. And what do you foresee? Because they're going to be in until maybe February 25th or something like that, because they're going to want to get out and campaign. the legislature is. They have,
And they started early.
Yes, they start early, and they have maximum bills that they can file, which are all filed now, and so when you look at January and February with the legislature and with Governor Braun, what do you predict, or what do you see?
Actually, I think because of the redistricting fiasco, and some lawmakers just want to totally disassociate themselves with all that, I think this is an opportunity for like real substantive legislation actually come through, because all the crap and BS is all like we dealt with this already. All they was just cause hard feelings.
So the filter,
yeah, it caused hard feelings. Nobody was happy. Nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to come back for this nonsense. And so I think the opportunity now for lawmakers to get real work done is a possibility. I'm interested to see what happens with the hospitals.
Yeah, because rural hospitals are really in deep trouble.
Yeah, rural hospitals are in deep trouble, and even the urban hospitals aren't all that great shape either. And the healthcare costs are kind of skyrocketing, getting out of control. So I think healthcare will be a major issue the lawmakers have to deal with, and also any sort of property tax fix as well.
Yeah, the tweaks.
Yeah, and then also throw the fact I just wrote a call about this weekend, the whole data center issue, because here's my issue on data centers. First of all, data centers don't bother me because I live in a city, and also my phone, which is my livelihood. However, in a world of property tax caps and local governments looking for money to pay for schools, roads, etc., the data center is probably going to do that. It adds a whole bunch of increases its value as commercial property, so it's capped at the 3%, not the 1 or 2%. And if you need the economic development, and data centers don't do a whole bunch of jobs, they just don't do that. Anybody who says they do that is lying to you. But what the data center does do, it increases the assessed value of the property and pays for the property tax, so it pays for all the stuff that people want.
Good schools.
It's like the line of the Music Man. He left River City Library building, but left all the books to her.
Right.
I've used a lot of musicals lately, a lot of my writings for some strange reason these days.
Well, they will tweak or twack the property tax. He had a luncheon for the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, a chew on this, and he had Campbell Ritchie as the speaker, who is so knowledgeable from the state chamber about property taxes, and he was so clear about what needs to happen. And Campbell got his start in the Senate, and what he was predicting is there are just several points where they need to change so local government has a little comfort. And I think Campbell is going to be a leader in suggesting and working with the administration to do what is necessary there. But aside from that, there's just not a whole lot that's going to get through that filter.
Well, I know one thing that's been on the table for years since I've been here in Indiana, and it's probably going to happen sooner than people think, is the whole government consolidation. And I would say township government is the number one target on that list.
Yeah.
Because Indiana has, 1,008 townships, and only 92 counties. And what do? You do poor relief, cemeteries, and a couple other minor things, but that's about
right.
And what was it? What was the story like 10 years ago? Some of the townships were renting space from their homes and kept.
Well, you got that problem that the guy down in Columbus, Bartholomew County, that basically it was over $1 million he used for personal use, which shame on his board who was just not asking questions and signing off on all the expenses. But still, that is an example of nobody pays attention to those offices, and the likelihood of things going awry is high. But
then you have the Wales, Mrs. Wales, they combined 3 townships in Johnson County, just north of there.
Yeah.
And it's a success. And it can be done, is what my point is.
If you're going to have township government, I would say at least have 1 township per county. If you're going to have a township government at all. Actually, I think the county should maybe take over some of those services, one less extra layer of government.
Yeah.
That you got to live with and deal with.
Yeah. So what? Really, township government, poor relief, cemeteries, and sometimes the fire department.
Yeah.
Is there anything else they do?
Well, they worry about the tax base, I could tell you.
Yeah, well, I mean, worrying and employing people is different.
Most of them are in charge of fire.
Yeah.
And just east of here, Buck Creek Township in Mount Comfort, they've got all those empty buildings out there with no tax base because it's all been given away because of TIF. And so, I mean, there are good reasons why we have township trustees, sometimes not. But
Obviously, Malcolm probably needs a data center.
Yes, I do.
yeah,
Well,
true.
retrofit one of those warehouses for a data center and go from there.
We've got a convention coming up in June of 2026, and we have statewide candidates that'll be up for renomination and re-election, if you will. And we have Bo Bai, who's running for Secretary of State, and we'll have a challenge between at Secretary of State with the Republican nomination. And what do you see in the next 6 months politically for us?
I'm going to say thank God I got some rest while I was in the Bahamas this past week. Because it's going to be a very busy year.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be interesting because normally, and what makes this year so interesting is that there's no governor's race, no U.S. Senate race, no presidential race. So the top of the ticket is going to be the Secretary of State's race. And normally the Secretary of State's race is very perfunctory, just kind of whatever. But I think this year, on the Democratic side, you got Bo Bai, who's the establishment candidate. I can't remember the other woman's name was running against him. But on the Republican side, you got Diego Morales, who's got all his issues, and you got Dave Shelton, who is actually, Dave Shelton is very boring. And I would argue that maybe boring is what people want.
Boring is good.
Boring is good. Boring is not bad at all. And I know there's a lot of dissension in the ranks. A lot of people are disappointed in Diego Morales. And the only reason Diego got elected in the first place was because people were mad at Eric Holcomb over COVID and took it out on his candidate, Holly Sullivan. And I think Diego and his supporters are confusing his victory with support. It's like, no, they didn't vote because they liked it because they couldn't stand the other person. The reason my wife married me because the other guy was a jerk.
Well, there's something interesting going on in the state of Indiana. And I think that probably both the Secretary of State and the Lieutenant Governor would fall into this category where they're largely unpopular in central Indiana, in the central Indiana media market. So you draw a circle that goes 60 miles out from Monument Circle.
20 counties?
Yeah, 20 counties. They're largely unpopular, and that's where the political class is. But you go out into the far corners of the state, they're very popular. And so how do you mesh all that?
I would argue where there's no real media, that's where they're popular. I would say, Fort Wayne, Evansville, maybe a little bit New Albany, maybe not as maybe there is that central Indiana anger, so to speak. However, I would say in rural Indiana, because once again, people got other stuff to do, and there's no active media, calling these guys out on the carpet. Diego Morales shows up with a ribbon cut, and look, we just opened up this, blah blah blah. Thank you very much. I'll go home. I think that's more the bigger issue. It's like, well, there's active media and the media that will stay on these guys. That's where they lose their popularity.
Yeah. Well, I find it ironic. The governor basically cut off the lieutenant governor duties, cut him off at the knees. But all that does is give him a ton of time with no actual duties to travel the state and do the ribbon cuttings.
And talk crazy.
But sometimes people want to hear the crazy. And if they think that you're being attacked, people line up behind somebody that they think's being attacked, especially if they don't know the full story.
Yeah.
Well, see, but here's the interesting thing about Lieutenant Governor, and this is legislation I definitely keep an eye on out when lawmakers come back January 5th. Danny Lopez has some legislation out there that would basically have the governor, lieutenant governor run on the same.
Yeah, Student Representative Danny Lopez from Carmel.
On the same ticket.
Right.
And to me, I never could understand why, like I said, been here for 20-something odd years, but still some things have me scratching my head. It's like, why do you have the governor, lieutenant governor running, separately? Because it's just a disaster waiting to happen. I go back 40 years ago, 1986, my home state of Illinois, where the governor and lieutenant governor were elected separately. And what happened was, on the Democratic side, you had Adlai Stevenson, who was a son of the great U.S. vice president, big name. Stevenson, Illinois is like Bai in Indiana. And they ran separately, and Stevenson won the governor's race, but it was like a Lyndon LaRouche candidate won lieutenant governor's race. And Lyndon LaRouche back in the 80s was like the bad crap crazy.
Yeah, ran from prison.
Yeah, exactly.
A number of years in a row.
got into a fight with Phil Donahue in an airport one day. He ought to murder your wife. They're like, oh my God, like what the heck? And so when the LaRouche guy won the lieutenant governor's race, the Democrats had to like, oh my God, we can't have this. So they had to disassociate themselves, form their own third party, and Republicans have run the government ever since, up until 2002 with Rod Blagojevich. So I know firsthand what it's like to have a governor and lieutenant governor from a different philosophical bent. So to me, them running together only makes perfect sense. Like, you know.
Well, in the before that, 1988, John Mutz and no, it was 1980. John Mutz and John Mutz was running for lieutenant governor. Kermit Burrows, who was Speaker of the House, was running for lieutenant governor. A guy by the name of Van Natta, who was in charge of the B&V, was running for lieutenant governor. And after that, they stopped it because Mutz won, being from Indianapolis, but they stopped that and turned it into a convention pick. And
so it was on the ballot up until then?
Yes, the primary ballot.
Primary ballot, yeah. So
that's what I think the perfect compromise is. So governor, lieutenant governor run together as a primary team.
You might remember this. I suggested back in the summer of 24 that Braun or whoever, Brad Chambers, anybody would name their lieutenant governor candidate, and so they could split the state up and campaign as a team. And I really thought that would be a good idea at that time.
And part of the reason why Micah Beckwith became lieutenant governor is that Braun got heavy-handed with delegates saying, "You're going to do this, or we'll do like delegates are like people. First of all, nobody likes to be told what to do. Particularly convention delegates don't like to be told."
Well, no, that his lieutenant governor candidate was thrown into the vat on May 10th, and had to campaign for 6 solid weeks behind, and that was really difficult for her, for Julie McGuire.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
I give Beckwith credit. I mean, his supporters went out and farmed potential convention delegates. I mean, they were contacting people prior to the primary.
He was sitting on porches.
Yeah, they don't have to work.
Yeah. So, yeah, they
you only work 1 day a week. That's Sunday morning.
Yeah, he started in September or August or something like that.
So let me ask, in your opinion, does Micah Beckwith have any sort of a political future? Well, period. Any kind of a political future after this?
I would say probably as a podcaster, throwing firebombs at people and telling them we're all going to hell. Of course, you may want to check your own church stuff and DCS and a bunch of investigations going on that. Oh, by the way, that's out there too, much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? My bad. I told a third bit of breaking news on that.
Yeah. I told the lieutenant governor on his own podcast that the only way that he would survive in politics is through a convention. And because I didn't think he could win a primary in the state of Indiana. I don't think Rokita could win a primary. I don't think Diego could win a primary. Diego Morales, and they are products of a convention, Republican convention, and I still believe that.
And I would argue if you're going to do primaries in Indiana, I prefer them be an open primary. First of all, why should I, as a taxpayer, put the bill for Republicans and Democrats to pick their own candidates?
And I'm in that camp now.
Yeah. I would say do an open primary. Top 2 vote getters, they face off in the general election. Unless you get like 60%, then you automatically win.
Yeah.
Yep. California does that now, right? Yep. So let's get to the prediction phase of this. This time next year, who is our Secretary of State-elect?
Bye.
Okay.
I differ. I think it'd be Diego Morales.
So you think Diego wins the primary, comes to the convention, and then gets reelected?
Yes.
Bye.
But who wins the Republican convention?
I would say Dave Shelton.
Okay.
Because so many delegates have just had it with Diego, and there's still more stuff coming out. So.
It's great to disagree.
I love it. I love the differences of opinion. So, anything else earth-shattering that you see going on in Indiana politics over the next year, 2026?
I do think Mike Braun will probably make a decision probably not to run for election. Mike will be in his 70s.
He's already in his 70s.
And I kind of asked, Mike, are you sure you want to do this again? All this really worth it? Like you're a millionaire, you got grandkids, you got the Mid-State Corridor right by your house, that helipad.
Does that get completed, the Mid-State Corridor?
Explain what that is.
So the Mid-State Corridor is basically a 4-lane, limited access, divided highway that connects I-64 in southern Indiana to I-69 up by Crane. It also bypasses Huntingburg and Jasper, and conveniently happens to run right outside of Mike Braun's business. And it's something he's been advocating for a long time. And when they said that when we didn't push the redistricting or did not pass redistricting, and they said that it might threaten some federal funds, I think those were the funds that were being threatened, was to fund that highway.
Yes.
So does that highway continue on? Because there was a poll that came out that said in Du Bois County, 90% of, well, let's see, Braun had a 15% approval rating. 16%. And the Mid-States Corridor only had a 17% approval rating. And anybody who's good at math knows that there's a whole lot of others that do not approve.
Yeah, it's classic. Who asked for this?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
In a nutshell, that's why I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I think the election is going to be interesting because, once again, there's no presidential, no U.S. Senate, no governor's race. Mm-hmm. And then we get ready for 2027.
Yes.
And the race for Indianapolis mayor.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
And a budget.
Yeah.
Big time. 27 will be really interesting. It's always interesting.
It is.
You never know what's going to happen. And we hope to have 20 guests in 2026. And it's going to be a wonderful year.
Exactly. Look for more from us.
Yes.
And I was sitting there like, I've been doing this for 20-something years. Maybe it's time to go do something else. Jack got to pull me back and go back in. I watched a lot of The Godfather lately.
I love it. I love it. Jim, any parting thoughts before 2025 wraps up?
Thank you very much for being listeners, loyal listeners. Thank you, Klopp. Thank you, Abdul. I think it's been a great year. We will have a complete buffet, a different, all types of different guests in 2026, and it's going to be a great year. Yes. And we love our sponsors.
Yeah, but the buffet can have a sneeze guard.
That's a good question. You mentioned sponsors. If you would like to sponsor Merritt in the Morning, we are looking to add a couple additional sponsors.
We are.
So
more than welcome to call us.
Yeah, get in touch with one of us, and we'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'll get in touch with you guys once my defamation money starts coming through.
We would love to have indiepolitics.org be a sponsor of Merritt in the Morning. Actually, thank you very much. You give us free love in some of your publications.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And yes, that is completely gratis on your part, and it does not go unappreciated. Mm-hmm. So
tax deduction.
Yes, it is. So also, thank you to Josh Gillespie. He's been our producer now for about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. He's one of the big reasons that you're seeing a lot more reels and a lot more activity on our part.
Clicks, baby.
So what?
Clicks, baby.
Clicks. It's all about the clicks. Yes, we're making so far $0. But we have a lot of fun and love doing it. Thank you all for watching. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, the Honey Baked Ham Company, locations at 96th in Michigan, Greyhound Pass, and Carmel. Remember, you work hard and be nice. For gosh sakes, be nice. Make it your New Year's resolution. Also want to thank Stockyards Bank and Trust, locations all over central Indiana. They're a great place. Put your money in there. If you need money, ask them for a loan. They're good about that.
They're great. Cafe Audrey.
Yes, and Cafe Audrey, thank you very much for being our host for 3 years now.
And the Lucky Horseshoe.
And the Lucky Horseshoe. Lucky pointing down, all the luck ran out.
Yeah.
All right. You all take care. We'll see you next time.
1, 2,